we are. Okay, so we are walking dogs. Can you see this? Can you see him? Can you see him? We got, wait, that's
this
one.
Guy's gonna come,
two.
Don't worry. He's got plenty of energy. Don't be confused.
Come on, Augie, you can do it. So we were walking, and Leah was getting ready to tell me how she wanted to do a video, and she's like, because I had this dream last night, and I wanted to kind of explain it to the people, and I was like, do you want me just to set you up a live video? And she's like, yeah, why not? So, worth noting, when we take this walk, and it's a really fun walk, we have some spots that we don't get reception. Hang in there, don't leave, and we'll come back. So, yeah. Leah, start from the beginning.
Okay. So, yeah, I had a really intense dream, and Michelle had a really intense dream last night.
Yeah, I had a really intense dream.
Very similar nature here. I think I'll hold them to you just so that's a fair trade. 3 dogs per camera. Yeah, these cameras aren't easy to hold.
It is. Look, you can see like my bicep.
Would anybody?
I'm holding it like strong.
We need a selfie stick. We've lost them all.
We used to have several, and now we don't have any. Yeah, but I have superhuman arms.
We haven't had one for a couple of years. If you've ever noticed how badly we carry those phones. So yeah, I had this dream, and I'll explain the dream without all the details that would throw people off. So there's a big difference, an important difference between a prophetic dream that you get from God that is going to warn you of something, or tell you,
yeah,
explain something to you, or just an important dream. And I don't mean just an important dream. There are dreams that are very, very important for you to take note of. Even write down.
There's a part where like your spirit man is trying to speak to you. Okay, I'm not going to give it away. Let Leah. It's her revelation. I'm getting it. While you're going it.
That's kind of like my punchline.
No, okay, keep going.
No, that's it. You got it. You got it before I even got there. And that's good. So when we dream or when we sleep, all the stuff from the day has to be processed and put in compartments. Our brains, our bodies they're doing things you don't even understand. Half the stuff that you do, you just do. You don't even think about it because God created you this amazing being, right?
Scoot over.
And your hormones do things, and your brain is operating all the time, right? Your brain doesn't shut down. And just like God doesn't sleep, right? You do sleep, but you don't.
That's good. Okay. I don't think your spirit man sleeps.
Yeah.
Do you think your spirit man sleeps?
No. Your body sleeps, but you're there.
Yeah.
Right?
We might lose reception in 1 second. Just stick. It'll come back.
But your body goes into the place where it's kind of like you literally are paralyzed. It's a sleep paralysis type deal. It's on purpose so that you don't like kill people or randomly you're sleeping next to your spouse and all of a sudden there's a bear and
there it is.
That mailbox.
Okay, so.
I told Michelle
She told me I had to run to the mailbox so that we can get back to reception.
It's that line right there at the house. Okay, so anyways.
Stick with us. We take this walk. We know we lose you. Just hold it and it'll refresh and it'll come back.
Yeah. So anyways, we'll get to a good place where it doesn't come out. So God puts your body into paralysis.
You were literally left with us killing a partner with a bear.
Yeah, exactly. You're chasing a bear, you got a bad guy, and then you're hitting people, right? And some people, that's when they're sleepwalking, right? It's not working right? So when we're sleeping, we're decompressing all the thoughts, all the
experiences,
the memories, all the experiences, and your body is decompressing and hopefully getting balancing out your hormones. And importantly, what do dreams do? Dreams are, and I know this is cliche, you may have heard this 100 times,
1,000.
Dreams are an ocean. Okay, so dreams are an ocean where all the crud washes to the front. Okay,
that's good
and clean, and then if you're healthy, then you clean the ocean, then you clean the sand, right?
Right.
So the ocean is cleaning all this debris throughout the day, all these things. What's important? What isn't important? Now, what you do throughout the day or days, you are going to be dreaming. You're going to be working things out. Your dreams are designed by God. This is not some super spiritual thing. Everybody dreams, okay? But it can be actually very spiritually healthy. Dreams are a very spiritually healthy way of our brains and our spirits working together, because your flesh turns off, right?
That's really good.
And so if you are feeding your spirit...
We might lose you in 1 second. Hang on.
If you're feeding your spirit the Word of God, if you're meditating on the Word of God, if you're doing spiritual...
Come on, Augie Doggy.
If you're in the spirit realm during the day and you're walking as a Christian, okay, when you dream, your spirit man will have been fed and empowered, okay? There's a balance there. We put the flesh under. And if your
He
spirit
does
man-
not want to go.
Here,
Augie.
come on. This is his little spot.
This
where
is the
he
one
gets-
spot where he gets stuck.
He gets stuck, but
He's
then we'll
like,
keep
"I'm
going.
just too
He's
hot."
got tons of energy. Then, so your spirit man wants to talk to your flesh, wants to talk to your mind, basically.
That's good.
And so your spirit man wants to help you work out the things that you don't have the pieces for. Okay? In our natural brains, we can't understand spiritual things. So our spirit man is going to try to help us to grasp
That's good.
these spiritual things while we're sleeping. So you can have a lot of dreams, and you're like, man, that dream had to be from God. And I'm going to say,
It was
yes,
too good.
yes, but
Or
most
powerful.
likely it was your spirit man, because you are engaged with God,
Come on.
working things out, and your spirit man's connected and seated in heaven.
Come on.
So your spirit man, it's not like God's like sending you a dream, like, I need you to dream this, right? It's more like, because you're in a relationship with God, your spirit man is connected to God, you're naturally going to be working things out.
Yeah, that's really good.
These are what I would call important dreams. When
They're
your
very
spirit
important.
man is speaking to you, and obviously it is coming from God, but it's not the same as in
Thus
a
says the
Daniel-
Lord,
a
thou
Dan-
shalt dream this
Yeah,
dream.
so there's a difference when the God is working with you and through you, and then you're actually operating in some sort of supernatural. God's like showing up in your room, in your dream, angels, thus says the Lord type deal. You can get those. They're going to be a little bit few and far between, because our bodies naturally need dreams. We need to be going through that dream cycle,
Right.
to be working through things, relationship things. And so what will happen in these like important dreams is that you'll be working through things from your childhood, things from being a teenager, and then your spirit man will also be trying to send you a message. So our brains are super duper complex, and we can do, like when we're sleeping, we can do multiple things at multiple times. So your brain is going to be working through things in the past, going to be helping you to identify things
In the present?
in the present, and mostly, and a little bit for the future, but really you're going to be working through things that you're kind of able to see now. Okay? What are nightmares? So nightmares are your brain's way of dealing with trauma. Okay? A lot of times you're going to have nightmares after you're clear from a bad situation. Okay?
And you know what? It feels like a premonition for the future.
Yeah.
And that's why it puts us into fear, but that's not always the case.
Yeah, so what we do in bad, scary situations is we will put in a compartment in our brain. This is totally God. It's a healthy thing to do. A very scary thing. Okay, so if something very scary happens to you, or traumatic, maybe you're in a car accident, until you're ready to deal with it, your brain will say, you know what, you're not ready.
Yeah.
When you're ready to deal with it, your brain will start to try to wash it out through the ocean of your dreams. Okay? Sometimes those nightmares will last a long time.
Like, so when my grandmother died, for years, I would have literal nightmares. I missed my grandma. Like, I loved my grandma. But I would have years of, like, nightmares that she came back to life. And it was like, what do we do with her now? Like, how do we reincorporate life back with her? Like, because we bought her house, right? With our mom and Uncle Jack. And we remodeled it, and everybody's got new rooms now, and like all of her money got distributed into an inheritance, and like, and in addition to the fact that she was a hard woman until like the last 2 weeks of her life. And so I would have these like nightmares that like my grandma was back to life and she was being so mean to us. And she did, yeah, and she used to be mean to us. But it wasn't her, it was influences and demonic influences.
She's back to life, but that she was there, and we needed to put her somewhere.
So for me in the dream, she was always like mad and angry, and I'll be honest, when we took care of my grandmother, it was hard work. Okay, it was, and she was very demanding. And I love my grandma, but it's like, it's this feeling of like going back to the trauma of the stuff that we had to go through when we were taking care of her.
So what happens with our dreams, and this is why it's important to process the dreams,
Let me have this.
is
please.
that if you have a traumatic experience, you're going to dream the trauma rather than the good things. And so
it doesn't mean that it was all trauma. It just means
Right.
that that's what's evidencing in the dream.
So you got to work through that trauma. You have to talk it through. You've got to bring the Holy Spirit. So
And I used to have dreams all the time that we went back to my dad's house. as kids. Like for years I dreamt that. Now I haven't dreamt that in a couple decades, maybe like 15 years.
I had dreams that my dad and my brother were coming to try to kidnap me, and after I stopped talking to my dad, and so I had those dreams for a long time. But let me tell you this about my dreams. As I was able to heal,
then I don't dream them anymore.
No, I actually have really great dreams.
Me too.
So when it comes to my dad, he was an abusive alcoholic. And I hated, since I was a little kid, I hated going to see him because he was mean. And he was an alcoholic. And it was very, very, very traumatic for me as a child. And then when I was in college, we had a conversation that ended up not well. And I was like,
it did end well, didn't it? In the long run, I mean.
Well, I'm just trying to go.
Oh, yeah, it was bad. It was not a good
so it was not a good conversation. And so I was like, I can't talk to this person. This is a abusive person.
Yeah. When I say it ended well, I mean it ended because we didn't end up talking to him anymore after that.
Okay.
Ever again.
So,
except for seeing him at the grocery store.
Yeah, we've talked to him several times since. But you've got to, my mom has a kind of a saying, and when you have these traumatic memories and they come to the surface, you have to take Jesus to them and work it out the way it should have been.
Yeah.
And so I've spent years working it out in my brain that I have a loving father, and that God loves me, and actually even visualizing what would it look like if my dad was encouraging.
Yeah.
What would it look like if he was like, wow, Leah, you're amazing? What would it look like if he provided for me? What would it look like if he just randomly bought me presents, which he never did? What would it look like if he was proud of me? Those kind of things. And I would visualize that. I would do these visualizations. What does it look like to have a good dad? What
would it look like if you had like an issue that you could take to your dad and ask advice for?
Yeah. So through a lot of that, then I've had lots and lots of dreams where I'm like in a car with my dad and my half brother, and we're just kind of going out to dinner, and it's normal because everything with my dad was heightened, and it was all cortisol level high. Like anything I did was cortisol level high. And I was like, it's just normal. We just, like with normal people, we just went out to eat. Or, I had another dream where
your dreams were allowing you to take the thought healing processes that you were doing and give them almost like a concrete story.
So basically what my dreams were doing were solidifying.
That's what I meant,
telling me this is healed.
That's good.
Okay? And they were healing. The dreams were healing me. Your dreams are a bandage. They are like a Neosporin
salve
to if you can do them right. Now,
healing balm.
You can live your whole life and your dreams not really be helpful. If you're in your flesh, if you live in anger, if you live in lust, your dreams are going to take you down a bad path.
Yeah.
And those dreams are going to solidify your flesh. So what you focus on during the day is what will come out at night.
That's good.
And it will be solidified. So people who are evil people who are sinning, people who sin throughout the day, unfortunately, when they dream, they're also going to be solidifying sin. And it's not a good thing, okay? It's not a good thing. Wicked people dream wicked dreams. Righteous people can and should and often do dream righteous dreams. Sometimes you're going to just be dreaming things to help you figure things out. And sometimes you're literally just washing out gunk.
So like the dream that I had last night, which I'm not going to tell because it was really bad. It was really intense. And I woke right up and told it to Leah. And I was like, dude, this was a really intense dream. But I would say that the best way for me to explain what Leah's talking about from the aspect of important dreams, last night's dream took our current situation that you guys all know with the SK stuff and allegorized it. And so what happens when you can allegorize something and it puts you can see it from another angle. Jesus used to tell his teachings in parables, right? And so I find that oftentimes if something that is bad in real life can be represented by another type of bad, which is what happened last night. It was representing one thing of bad for murder. And so when I could see it in the light of murder, and what is that scripture that says if you hate your brother?
He who,
If you hate your brother, you have murder in your heart.
He who hates his brother has murder in his
And
heart.
so if my dream could see it from another angle of this is actually a murderous spirit, and then I was like, whoa. And so I find that that's super helpful. I don't necessarily believe that that was like God that says, Michelle, this is a prophetic dream, because it was a really intense nightmare. But rather my spirit man,
happen in the future,
right? But my spirit man going, you can see that this is like, you could take both situations and you could overlay them, and they would look like, not identical twins, but fraternal twins. You know what I mean? Like they're the same thing, but they don't look identical. Okay, they have the same birth date. They have the same, you know what I mean? And so that's kind of how I view my brain and not my brain, but my spirit man trying to help my brain to understand something that my brain may not see all angles of.
So I also have a saying, when it's on the outside, it's going to look on the inside. And so especially when I dream, it means it's not happening now.
Yeah.
I had a really crazy dream where I like chewed somebody out, and I was like, that's not me. That is not me. No, but I worked it through, and I was like, okay, that wasn't me, but God was like wanting to show me, there's parts of you that still need to be healed. And when I dreamt that, it was like, okay, that's not you. You're healed. That's not part of who you are. But the dream that I had last night,
it was kind of a nightmare.
Yes, it was a little bit one, but it wasn't, because I'm just going to call it an important dream. Because I'm not going to call it a nightmare. It wasn't a nightmare.
This is one of their favorite spots to stop and sniff.
But it was definitely, it was almost prophetic, but it was really just working things out. And when I say almost prophetic, could have been God speaking to me some things, but really I think it was my spirit man working things out. And like now it's on the other side. I can begin to maybe, once you can visualize it, like Michelle said, in an allegorical state, then you might be able to explain it better to people. And so I was talking to Rick from Montana last night, and we were talking about how he's been trying to expose.
This is the horse guy that called in on our family meeting. If you guys did not watch the family meeting and you missed that random call, you have to go back and watch the family meeting.
Right. So with the SK situation, Rick is a 70-year-old rancher. He raises horses.
Tough guy, right?
Tough guy in Montana, and basically.
But righteous man of God, super righteous man of God.
Was kind of trying to get an angle on his property. And I know conversations we've had for him ourselves, he's always out there to get somebody's property. And then he told this guy he was going to. Oh, we got to poop.
Here, how about you take the phone and I'll get.
So he told Rick that he wanted these. He wanted 3 or 4 horses, and he told Rick. Canadian. Well, one was a Canadian. I don't know if the ones Rick bred were Canadians.
Well, so he was going to buy the Canadian.
Right,
the other
I'm
two
getting
were
to that.
stay
Yeah.
There.
So, Rick was going to help him purchase a Canadian horse from Canada, a very special horse. And Rick put the down payment, $1,200, on this horse. And then Rick had 3 pregnant mares that, 2 pregnant mares? Okay. That in exchange for Scott keeping these pregnant mares on Scott's property, it's not Scott's property, it's Brad's property, so he lies about that, by the way. On that property, Brad's property, he would gift him 2 of the babies, the fowls. And he made this deal, and Scott was like, I'm coming, I'm going to get this trailer, I'm going to come. Kept putting him off, until Rick was like, listen, you have to come get them. It's winter. They're going to almost starve. I have to go up there and feed them. I'm 70 years old. And during that winter,
2 young guys, one in their 20s and one in their 40s, literally died.
Doing the same thing that Rick was doing, trying to feed these horses up in the mountain.
That he should never have had to be up there doing, because they were supposed to go to the property down at SK's. And the other part of that story that we found out later is that Paul kept telling Scott, like, dude, let's just go get him. I have the truck. We can go get the trailer. We can go get him. And when we told that to Rick was just like heartsick.
Yeah.
He was like, this could have happened.
Yeah, because Rick was like, and Christine's like, there were 3 stalls. We could have kept these horses. And of course so anyways, it cost Rick $3,000 extra to feed the horses. And then Rick ended up purchasing the horse that Scott, and then Scott ghosted him. So there's like people, because because I
Here we
already
are.
did. Okay, I did in the fall of
The entire time,
of
and
2023.
I didn't realize this, that the entire time both Brian and Alicia were encouraging Scott
But we
pursuing
right,
Michelle.
but we had a conversation with them.
Yes.
And we said, you know, Scott has expressed these desires for Michelle, and we cannot have this relationship with Scott as a ministry. If that's the case, he's 20 years older than us, it's not going to work. And I called Brian and Alicia, and I said, Brian and Alicia,
Come on.
this can't happen. And they're like, well, we kind of encouraged it, and why can't it happen, and blah, blah, blah. So I already Matthew 18 them. They're
Okay, all right, we're back.
Okay.
If you lose us, you'll only lose us for a minute because we'll come back. We're
Yeah.
taking this dog walk, and there's a couple of spots where we lose connection, but just wait a few minutes.
Like Brian and Alicia, that's a whole other story, and we'll have to tell that another time. Okay, but they're lying. Whatever they're doing, if they're saying we didn't follow the biblical route, they're lying. So I don't know what to tell you about that. Except for,
Well, and above all else, I cannot go to somebody who is in an active relationship with this man.
no, he's dangerous.
He's under, like, they are under his
He's under
spell.
his spell.
And now he has them running cover for him.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, I'm not going to communicate with anybody that's still under the spell. That's dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
That's
For
too,
sure.
they have his demons.
But we already did. Okay, and they continue to lie and deceive us behind our backs.
I had no idea. Well, I do now, looking back on it, that they were still encouraging. And I remember at
And
one
that
point,
came from CJ.
and no, not just from CJ. I just didn't. Scott was saying something about, I'm never going to marry anybody from Bard's Nation. I'm never going to marry anybody from Bard's Nation. This is per Scott. Okay, I don't have it straight from Brian and Alicia, but per Scott. And then Alicia said to him, oh yeah, well, what about Michelle? And he's like, well, that's different. Okay, so that was as recent as like late last year.
Yeah, so they lied and deceived me. They did not come to me at all. At all. They lied and they totally deceived me. And I am completely heartbroken at their deception. Their deception and lies
To
try
continue
entrap.
to encourage
Yeah.
something that we had already made very clear that we were not interested
and that was
in.
really wrong. And
Yeah.
it was very wrong.
And that's not biblical.
And I think that they are involved with the witchcraft that Scott does, because they just started a new healing center called Somatic Healing. And you guys know that we have...
What's up? Hey, new mailbox.
You guys know we have done a little bit of breath work here and there, kind of just to calm you down a little bit. But they have opened up like this Somatic Healing Center, and they were practicing on Mr. Scott Kessler.
Literally, that's the way that that he said it. Like, he's like, this is Brian's going to call me every week to practice the somatic healing on me, and this went on for months and months.
So here's the thing: Scott does not need. Scott is not a baby that needs like once a week like trauma. He doesn't have PTSD. Okay.
Well, he says he does.
Does not though. I don't care what he says.
Okay, let's get back to the dreams.
Okay.
We could go off of this rabbit trail for a while.
So anyways, I know this because he will message everybody else back and be like, just go to God with it. Just go to Jesus with it, you big baby. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's getting once a week therapy sessions, like a child. Okay? Because it makes him feel good. And so anyways, back to my dream and this whole situation that we've been dealing with a lot of these church leaders and a lot of things with Donald Trump and things like that. So in this dream, I don't know if you guys know, and I'm going to tell you guys some of the interpretations as I got them when I woke up. And I don't want to call out my friends who are going to be part of this, and I love them, but this is what I dreamt. There's a 250th anniversary of the nation that is real, very real. And Donald Trump has these events, not him, but people have these events planned. It's supposed to be, yay, America.
And I really wanted to do one in Plymouth with Leo and Nancy. I called them. Like, this was before all this kind of went down. This was last November. And I was like, I just feel the power of God on me so strong. I feel like we should do an event in Plymouth, which we may or may not do, but probably not at this point. But we'll see. You can pray into it. But keep going. Like, we had called some of these friends about this.
And yeah, so I wasn't feeling it because I feel like we're in a battle time right now.
Yeah.
I feel like this is war. And I feel like there's a war on our nation. And I feel like, so anyways, in this dream, I saw there was a big giant football stadium and it's a big field. And I was going to carry a candle from one end to the other. And for some reason, there was a bunch of people there that were like Free Palestine people. And I believe that represents like Candace Owens the Tucker Carlson and how like a bunch of people on the right have become like this super anti-Jew, and how like if I were to carry this candle across the field and like this, and they started to chant Free Palestine, then somehow I might be caught up in and look like I supported that. And so I was encouraging the pro-Jewish people, pro-Israeli people on the other side to chant Israelis deserve to live too, or something like that. Like Israel deserves to exist as well, or something like that. And when I got there, it was like I had to choose kind of between like these free Palestine people and like these. And so basically it became neutral. I was like, you guys chant, and then they can chant, and then I'm not in it. Okay.
And that is essentially the stance that we take. And I just want to, if I may, insert this, because we have a lot of people that are incredibly fervently anti-Jew.
Yeah.
You are anti-Israel. You think that they are the Satan of everything in the world. Leah and I believe that they are contributors in addition to everybody else.
I think that radical Islam and that Hamas are terrorists, and that what is happening in Palestine is a continuation of their own terrorist ideology. And if they did not, if the Islamic world were to just accept these Palestinians instead of keeping them there, the Islamic world
wants Palestine to be
these quote unquote Palestinians as a
pawn.
place card.
Yeah.
Because they want this little piece of land because of it's a religious war. Okay? And they're using them, and they have brainwashed these people from children to just be murdered, just to go and just fight battle and war and all these things. And so somehow, I don't know how, when you begin to put pieces together and you recognize, wow, Mossad's not that great. Maybe the Israeli government's not that great. Maybe Israel was not founded in 1948 by some sort of biblical prophetic word, okay? When you try to put those pieces together and you don't do it the right way,
you just end up with what we call a mind worm.
Right, exactly. So you look at like Iran, all right? They have a very horrible government as well. But I'm not going to call for the overthrow of Iran or Egypt or Saudi Arabia even.
But is it wrong that every United States senator and congressman has an AIPAC representative?
Yeah.
100%. Is there any other nation that does that? No.
Yes, actually. Well, I would say this. They do it in other ways. So communist China does it in other ways.
You're right.
And Qatar does the universities. They all do it in all different ways. So like the AIPAC representative is one way. And then what Qatar does is just buy off whole people.
Exactly.
And whole universities.
So there's so much wickedness in this world to focus on Israel alone, which is wicked. It's naive.
And then to see, like, okay, Don Jr. and Eric just made a $5.5 billion deal with Qatar. Okay, so don't talk to me about Israel because Qatar is a radical Islamic country.
Right,
So
exactly.
anyways,
That's
was
just
part
an
of my
aside.
dream.
So
No, it's not an aside.
No,
it's part
exactly.
Of my dream. So there are these two sects of people in my dream as this 250th anniversary is playing out. There's the free Palestine people, and then there's the Israeli people. And the free Palestine people are much larger, actually, than the Israeli people. And that's why I wanted the Israeli people to chant, because they don't want all of Israel to die. And there's a hatred and a murder in their hearts. Okay? There's a lot of great Jewish people, and there's a lot of great people in Israel. So, it goes both ways. So anyways, in this dream, my friend Michelle was all excited because my friend Matt and I were going to MC this event, this giant event that was going to be global.
In the dream. It's not real.
No, it's not real. It's the whole point of a dream.
I know. You're saying Michelle was all excited. In the dream, Michelle was excited.
Yeah. And we were going to MC this event and then sing patriotic songs in between. And it was going to be amazing. And I was like, wow, this is really great. Well, the dream kind of switched to when it was going to be a Christmas event. And this is where it kind of gets a little bit like the French Olympics. And I'm going to skip over. This is what happens like when you dream. I had personal things from my past that popped up that were working out itself. Like people from high school and things like that were working themselves out in this dream. We should probably just finish the thing here.
Well, we can go up further. I think we won't lose them.
Okay,
well,
so that one. That's fine.
Yeah.
Come on, Charlie. One more. Let's a little bit. Oh, sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. You want to go to that shade?
Yeah, why not?
Because as soon as we go down that dip, it's
I know.
Okay, so...
or we could just tell them to hang on through the dip.
I don't know. We might lose them. We can.
No, we would lose them, but we tell you guys to just stay.
Well,
we're going to lose reception at some point.
Hang on.
It'll probably last about
wants a
60
little break.
seconds.
Anyways, poor guy. So in this particular moment in time, I am going down and I'm going down to this rehearsal. And I realized at this rehearsal that atheists were going to, and occultists were actually going to be putting this on. And they were going to be putting occult elements into this thing.
So it's supposed to be this God thing and the 250th anniversary.
Right.
But then in order to do that, you have to be partnered with people that are occultists and Satanists.
Yeah, because they're the ones that are really good at putting on. And I think that what I basically was dreaming was the Burning Man type stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, because we talked about Nicole Shanahan. So that was my brain working through the Burning Man stuff, right? So in it, though, as I'm learning that there's going to be some of this occult stuff in there, and I'm going to be one of 7, like masters of ceremonies, and it was very, very important. I began to see these occult elements and began to question them. So, lo and behold, Rick Joyner is the kind of spiritual advisor.
Well, that tells you all you need to know. And we may lose you. Just stick with us for like 60 seconds
and
to
so I have to meet
to
with
2
Rick
minutes.
Joyner, and I'm like, Rick, what? And I know that who he is, but I'm like,
Different Rick than Rick from Montana.
Right, Rick Joyner. If you guys don't know who he is, we have to explain that another time. But he's one of the false prophetic guys in the false prophetic movement, and who covers up for Mike Bickle. So, but in this conservative world, he's one of those voices in the conservative world. So he would probably be in charge of some of these things, or a vocal voice. So along the way, as these things keep happening, I'm recognizing little pieces that I'm compromising. Okay, so my sister can't be in it. That's kind of weird. I'm gonna have to do it by myself. Things like that. And are we with him?
We're with them.
Okay. So I realized that when I'm talking to Rick, I'm like, hey, what about the spiritual aspect of this? Because like it seems occulty. What do you guys do with that? And he's like, yeah, well, whatever. And then
Are we back? We're back.
okay, so he said in the dream, Rick Joyner says, I'm going to take an insurance policy out on you in case you get sick, something happens, these things happen, which you're going to have to sign on, that you're definitely going to do this. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, now I know that there's occult elements in this, and all these other things that I've had to compromise on, but it's so big, and it's like for the country, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, what kind of choices I can't. And so I woke up from that, and I woke up and I'm like, I'm gonna have to make this choice to say no. And I believe that the representation of that dream is where MAGA is at right now, where there is a ton of occult elements in this MAGA movement.
Yeah.
And we have to look at it. We can't, like, I want to do a show tonight. We're going to see our website's down. We got a lot of stuff going on, so I don't know if we're going to do.
We can do a show without the website. It's just.
Well, you might have to be talking to somebody to fix it.
Oh, well, yeah. That's true. I won't be able to because that's going to happen at 6.
Yeah.
So we probably won't have a show tonight. This will be your show for tonight.
But I really want to do a show tonight somehow. Maybe. We'll see.
Well, you could do a live on, technically you can do the show by yourself.
Yeah, we'll see. But on cults and coming out of a cult. Because yesterday I was thinking about really meditating on what makes a cult. Well, what makes a cult usually is a cult leader. And what makes a cult leader is somebody who has like prophetic words around them that others have made up or they have brought forward, and that you stick with that person because of these prophetic words no matter what they do. Beyond their moral failings, beyond how they act, beyond their lies, beyond everything. You stick with them because you think that God has anointed them or appointed them because you heard a prophetic word at some point. And that's a cult. That's part of a cult. Okay? Cults have you compromise on your base and core beliefs. Basically, Eve in the garden, did God really say? So if you look at Joseph Smith, he had this supposed visitation from angels. Joseph Smith was the guy who stranded the Mormons. And then supposedly he was given these written tablets that only he could translate. And he brings the translation, him and a guy, bring the translations to the people. And that's the Book of Mormon. But the angel that gave them these things destroy the tablets. Now, if you're not Mormon, you're going to think that that's ridiculous. If you're Mormon, you're going to believe it. That's the cult, and you're going to put him up. And then even though Joseph Smith was known to marry and have relationships with multiple women, and he created up a whole thing that, you know, everybody, when they die, they get a planet, and a woman has to be joined in a ceremony to a man in order for when she dies, she can go to that planet.
Which is how they excuse having multiple wives.
Exactly.
Well, we just got to make sure she gets a planet.
Right,
She has a
exactly.
place to go.
So you're joining to all these other men. Basically, if your husband doesn't become Mormon, then it keeps you in the cult because, well, you're joined and married to other men, another man. Okay? That's your headship or whatever. And so we can all see that that is pretty wrong, right? But then, and that's a cult leader. So you look at somebody like a Mike Bickle. He doesn't have the fruit of actual righteous living. Okay, his fruit is bad. His tree is completely rotten when it comes to righteous living, because from the time he was in ministry at 25, he was molesting a young girl at 14.
You said Mike Bickle, right?
Mike Bickle.
Okay.
Yes.
We've been talking about Rick Joyner. I couldn't tell if you clarified that.
Yeah, so Rick Joyner doesn't have fruit of a righteous life either, because he's constantly, quote unquote, restoring all of these horrible, awful people with, and what they do is they go to this thing which says, but the anointing is on them, the calling is on them. Look at the prophetic words. So Rick Joyner and all these people had all these prophetic words for, you know, Donald Trump or Todd Bentley or all these different guys, and it makes them look really badly if they've fallen. So you have to say, they have to quote unquote restore these guys in order to make their prophetic words not fall to the ground.
Right.
Okay.
But I think it's worse than that with Rick. I think he had an affair, and so he just has to cover up for these guys with sexual sin.
Or he looks bad. Yeah.
Or he looks bad.
Yeah.
So you want to go in the backyard?
Yeah. So I'm recognizing that, guys, whatever's going to be happening with this 250, I see that the Lord is showing me that Michelle and I could have been a part of that. And we should have been, because we're the
Pilgrim girls.
People. We're the founding fathers. We're the founding fathers people, and our friends are Donica and Ryan and Robert and Jamie Agee. They are going to be going from 50 states in 50 weeks, and they're going to be doing American history, you know, this and that. And you know, if there's one thing that Michelle and I, you know, would have been involved in, it would have been this. And then when I realized, when it comes to Trump right now and the Trump movement and the MAGA movement, there's so many occultic elements, and how hard it is for me to say no and to walk away from that. You guys think that like I'm just like, throwing Trump under the bus, but look at it. People, you know I could lose followers on this, but I have to speak the truth, which is there is a cult around Donald Trump. And I just saw a video where somebody broke down the Kim Clement prophecies. And Kim Clement was not talking about Donald Trump. He literally says, and he clarifies later, he was saying that he was talking, and he says, I'm talking about Barack Obama. I'm talking about Barack Obama. He was very clear on that. I'm talking about Barack Obama. Can God even use, he says, can God use a Democrat? Of course God can use a Democrat. He'll go in the office cursing my name. He'll come out praising my name. That is a false prophecy. It did not happen. And so that makes it even worse for somebody to take a false prophecy from Kim Clement and then try to repackage it as another prophecy, which it does not mean.